Okay, hello everyone. My name is Tyler Sims of ChiroTouch. I want to welcome you to tonight's training webinar featuring Dr. CJ Mertz. He built his cash-driven, subluxation-based lifetime family wellness practice to over 1,200 patient visits a week. That's when chiropractors started visiting his practice every day from all over the world, which then led him to begin his coaching program, which has now trained over 16,000 teams, 20 different countries, and actually spoken in 12 different languages. So in this presentation this evening, you're going to learn about the marketing made easy, which has obviously been one of the big contributing factors that has led to, Dr. Merckx's record-breaking growth for several hundred practices in the last 24 months. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. CJ Merckx. Take it away, Doc.
Tyler, thank you so much. Good evening, docs. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for carving out time from your practice, from your family. I know I am going to make that worth your while. Merry Christmas to you in this week before Christmas. And this couldn't be a better time, as far as I'm concerned, to talk about new patients made easier as we look forward into 2024. There was a crazy number of chiros that joined me earlier today for this training. And if you weren't able to get into that one, I'm happy that you were able to come on tonight. And so this is so special. As Tyler said, the number of records that have been set and broken just in the last 12 to 18 months with what I'm about to teach you has been extraordinary. I want you to just settle in. If you've got a chance to maybe have a notepad or a journal and you can take some notes, this is the one to do it with. I want you to come out of this training feeling like you have a breath of fresh air. You have a brand new picture and vision of you being really in control of the new patients that you can place on your schedule book. I want you to know that the Launchpad, which is what I'm going to be talking about this entire evening, is right out of my Accelerate Coaching Playbook. So I'm just going to roll back the curtain, if you will. This is, I want you to know this is as if I'm just showing it to you as if you are a client of me. That is how I want to have you experience this thing. I want you to feel that you can get the same results that every other chiropractor that's training with me is getting. And of course, Launchpad, which you'll see very clearly what that is in just a minute, it's posting insane results all across the country, in small towns, in mid-sized towns, in large towns. It doesn't make a difference. I want you to feel right now that there are tens of thousands of people, men, women, and children, within driving distance of your practice that have a problem, a health problem only you can solve. So tonight is my honor and my privilege to be able to show you that not only in the last 18 months, but in the last 18 to 28 years, as we've continued to develop and evolve this process, it's as if my clients just wind up actually having record-breaking new patients each and every year, and there's a reason for that. I want to start off with this, which I personally believe you should have a screenshot of this. So this is something you can meditate on for many, many minutes. I spent 2 hours just in this area here alone with my clients recently. You see the top graph, the top line, which is in blue, and you notice faith, confidence, and belief. The overarching fundamental there is motivation. FCB, faith, confidence, and belief. You notice that it's slowly and steadily rising. The first thing I want you to recognize is that what my clients learn is not to attach their faith, confidence, and belief to their results. Because what you know and what I know is that results go up and down on the way up. The most masterful practices that I've ever had the blessing of coaching all grew up and down on the way up. 100 a week to 200 a week to 300 a week to 4 and 5 and 6, from 250,000 to 500,000 to 750,000 to 1 million to 2 million to 3 million. As we continue to climb the mountain, results go up and down on the way up. You want to have your faith, confidence, and belief attached to something other than your results. If that's all you got from this training tonight, you are blessed 10 times over, because that is the crash and burn for most chiropractors that I get the chance to talk with, and I talk to chiropractors all week long. I want you to think of somebody right now, somebody who you have a tremendous amount of faith in. I'll even use the word trust. And you know, as humans, no one's perfect, right? So we're not talking about somebody who's perfect, but this is somebody, whether it's maybe a parent or a past teacher or a coach, a friend, a pastor, but somebody that you just have tremendous faith and trust in. Do you have a picture now of somebody in your mind? Awesome. So I want you to think about this now. I want you to think about that second line now, that you see retention, revenue, and referrals. Those are the KPIs, the key performance indicators that cause the ceiling to rip off a practice every year. And so when I talk about crushing goals, we crush goals in practices all over the world through those three KPIs. It's about strengthening your PVA or retention. It's about growing your revenue, and it's about increasing your referrals. And now going back to that person that's in your mind, I want you to think about the faith, the confidence, the trust that you have in that person. Imagine having that kind of trust that you put into growing and strengthening your retention. You may not know exactly how to do it just yet, but the faith and the trust that your retention can grow, can get stronger, is that tight. I want you to think about that person. I want you to think about the faith and trust you have in them. Imagine putting that into your revenue, seeing your revenue increase and having the faith and that trust that that's what's going to happen. And the same thing with increasing your referrals. You see, when you actually have a reservoir of faith, confidence, and belief, you already have an unfair advantage to grow next year. And there may be many of you right now that you're going, wow, I hope he would just spend all the rest of this time just talking about that blue line. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk to me personally and privately so we can do more of that. But I now want you to go to the bottom line, which is front door, side door, back door. Whether you know it or not, your practice has all three of those doors. That front door is all about new patients. It's every which way that we bring new patients into your practice, which we're going to spend the next 30 minutes talking nothing but that. But I want you to understand your retention, your revenue, and your referrals should all grow through the front door. The side door is about how you lead and manage patients so that there's no missed visits and there's nobody dropping out, and they're attending your workshop and they're doing their homework exercises. It's that protocol and it's that process of people being so committed and tight to their care. That's your side door. And your retention, your revenue, and your referrals all come from that side door. And then the final door, your back door, that's lifestyle. That's you taking people out of the corrective care, and then once they've completed that, they're now in your wellness care, what I call Club C. Those are your lifers, right? And your retention, your revenue, and your referrals all grow from that door as well. So for the rest of the time I have for you tonight, we're going to take FCB, the top blue line, we're going to put it all the way up into that top right of the green line, which is referrals and new patients, and putting it right into the front door. So this is a really cool sliver of a training that comes from what is on your screen right now. My focus, this training, very simple. It's to overwhelm your practice with new patients. And I feel tremendously confident that with you and I, we can get that done. Launch is probably what you thought it was. The definition is simply to catapult. It's to propel, right? It's to thrust forward. And that is exactly what I intend to do. There's a word I want you to write down early in this training called parlay. We want to start parlaying new patients into more new patients. Parlay means every one patient coming into your practice turns out to be another one or two or three or five, right? Parlaying one into one or more. And that's what we want to do. And we want to start seeing parlaying of new patients into more new patients, watch this, in minutes rather than in weeks, or maybe not ever. And I believe in 2024, you can be so much more masterful in the way that you attract new patients. I want you to think about this and think about it from yourself personally right now. Go into maybe the last month of your life, month or two, and think about maybe a restaurant that you went to and it was just a great restaurant, right? And you had some real, was Chinese or maybe Mexican or Italian or whatever it was. But how long after you went to that great restaurant did you tell a friend? How long did it take for you to tell somebody, whether it was, through social media or it was a text, it was a phone call, it was something that was like, oh my gosh, you got to check this out. And by the way, if you go, definitely get this. I ate that and it was incredible, right? Or maybe you went to a movie and you watched this movie. It was a great movie. How long after that did you tell somebody, you got to go watch that movie? So whether it's a hairstylist or maybe it was some kind of skin product that you used, or maybe a teeth whitener, or maybe somebody set you up with a new set of golf clubs, it was so great, and you're telling your buddies, you're telling somebody, you got to go check this out. You got to go see this person. You got to go there. I want you to get that feel right now, because you see, in the most successful practices every year, bar none, and I have been coaching for 30 years, I got to tell you, this is what happens every year. I'm telling you that even though you may not feel this way about yourself now, you can be a piper. You can be a new patient magnet. And this is what we're going to uncover tonight. So practices that serve 20 new patients a week. Yes, 20 new patients a week. And many of my clients do this. They first learn to serve 6 new patients a day. So I want to stop and come backwards just a little bit and say that the most successful growing practices year after year have done a few of the same things. Number one, it's a 30-minute experience. I want you to understand that that patient coming through your front door, I'm talking about a new patient, is including the consult, exam, scans, x-ray, and they are back to the front door in 30 minutes, scheduling their reported findings, and you can set a clock to that. So you have to ask yourself, are you there yet? And if not, you're adding undue pressure to being able to even feel good about attracting more new patients. I also want you to know what's in common with all of these docs and their teams, and their software helps as well, because they can push out the paperwork, the entrance form out to that new patient in an instant. These docs, 9 out of 10 of these new patients are walking in with that paperwork already completed. I'm asking you, is that you? Or are people, new patients, sitting in your office and filling out paperwork? That's going to slow the process down. It actually takes the vibe down about 3 notches. You've got to actually do even that much more better work in your consult and exam to offset that. So I'm talking procedurally right now, but you have to understand that's part of the excellence of really growing a major new patient machine in your office and be able to help more men, women, and children, which I know is in your heart, right? That's what it's all about, right? It's helping sick people get well and stay well. We've got to be ready for that. And again, if you need more help with that, I'm going to give you an opportunity to find out how you can do that. But I want you to think in 2024, that's who I'm going to be. We're going to be a practice that is so effective and so efficient, and that's going to cause us to attract that many more patients. So a sense of momentum is what we're building right now, adding urgency to achieve this goal. It should be easy for you to see yourself seeing 2 or 3 new patients in the morning shift and another 2 or 3 new patients in the afternoon shift. And around that, you're serving 50, 60, 70 people for adjustment and serving them through your care plans. That's not hard at all. There's no overwhelm, right? There's no anxiety, because it's all scheduled and it's all performed brilliantly with you and your team. So when you can get to the point where you can breathe easy about even what I'm just saying, because right now you might be going, oh my gosh, 6 new patients, I don't know how I would do. That's okay. You're not that far off. I want you to know you're not that far off. I just want you to understand that you right now should be thinking, what Coach CJ is about to show me will increase my new patients anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 new patients a week, more than you were serving in 2023. So we're going to come out the gates in 2024. Think about it right now. Own it right now. Just claim it right now. Whatever makes sense, whatever feels right to you. 3, 4, 5, 6 additional new patients every single week. And yes, I can put them in my schedule book. And yes, we can flow and we don't have overwhelm and people are not waiting and it's not an anxious situation at all. I want to bring up a survey and I want you to take this survey and I want you to be as honest as you can, right? It's It's a confidential survey. It's you just simply putting down what matches your situation the best, most accurately. These hundreds and hundreds of chiropractors later have all taken this survey, and I'm going to give you the results of it in just a moment. And here's the question and answer, if you will, is that my average new patient, your average new patient, refers another person in less than 7 days from them starting care with you. If that's true, then just put down A. B is that my average new patient refers within 30 days or less the second patient, right? That referral, and that's from the day that they started. C means that my new patients do refer, but it's inconsistent and I couldn't track it like the way that you're talking about right now. And then D is that my new patient referral program needs help. So go ahead and write down what's true for you. And the more true and honest you are, the faster you're going to grow out of this. Let me tell you what the answers are. 50% of our profession is in C right now. 30% is in D. 15% is B, and the last 5% is in A. My question to you is, where do you want to be? Where would you want to be next? And maybe actually your skull's kind of just getting cracked, thinking, wait a second, I didn't even know that you could have patients referring in less than 7 days, right? Like that might have just been a thought that you've never even heard before, right? And yet there's now a whole percentage of chiropractors around the country and around the world. That's what they do. And you're going to see why here in just a minute. But now that you actually see where you are in that survey, I want to use examples from each of these quadrants. In fact, this is another beautiful screenshot for you right here. This is a quadrant system that I created that I want you to know. Just rest, take a nice little breath in, blow it out, and here's what I want you to get, Doc. 100% of all marketing that could ever happen for any chiropractic practice all fits on this screen. There is no marketing that happens in a chiropractic office that doesn't fit in one of these quadrants. I want you to walk out of here tonight feeling so confident that I'm making it simple. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's so simple that you're going to see being able to put an overlapping marketing campaign together in 2024, unlike anything you've ever done. And I just know that. I've been in this place too many times with too many chiros to understand the power of what I'm sharing with you right now. So these 4 quadrants is, first of all, you spending your energy rather than your money on the inside of your practice. That would be the upper left-hand quadrant, right? EI, energy on the inside. You'll see examples of that in just a moment. The upper right quadrant is still your love and your energy, and it's spent on the outside, like doing talks and screenings in your community. A point I want to make on that would be, rather than using a fishing pole and one hook, I want you to think about being that kind of chiropractor that puts a net out, and that you're able to attract a whole net of fish rather than one fish at a time. You think about something like a porpoise, for example, they actually find whole schools of fish and then they go fishing. So I want you to understand where you should be and where 70% of your town right now is hurting tonight. As you and I are having this amazing dialogue in this training, 70% of your town is not moving well. They are in pain. They're not eating well, they're not digesting well, they're not sleeping well, 70% of your town. You need to actually be able to get into the churches, into the schools. You need to get into the businesses. You need to get into the sports teams. And I'm going to show you exactly how this works. But outside talks and screenings, posture and stress testing and things like that create so many opportunities for chiropractors. And even in 2023, it was record breaking, just that box alone. The bottom left box is money on the inside, and that speaks of gifting, a regular gifting program for your patients, and then being able to invest in things like patient appreciation days, which we'll see. And in that 4th box, probably the most common box that you're aware of is money on the outside. That would be hiring a company, for example, and having them do Facebook and Instagram and social media marketing, right? Or that you decide to do direct mail marketing or TV a radio show. And by the way, I want you to know that I understand all the best companies with the best pricing. So that's something else that I can share with you. There's so much to talk to you about in every one of these, but I want you to know it's not difficult. I would say this, if you look at Fortune 500 companies all across the country, one thing they have in common, regardless of what their product or service is they're going to invest a budget into marketing before the year even starts. In chiropractic, on the top end, it should be 10% of your annual income. So let's say that you collected $200,000 this year in 2023. That should already be telling you take 10% of that on the top line, right? And that would be $20,000. And you already have $20,000 slated for how I'm going to invest that in 2024, between 5 and 10%. So that would have been between $10,000 and $20,000. If you made $400,000 this year, then it would be between 20 and 40,000. I've already got slated for my marketing. See, that's a healthy way for you to start thinking about how I can do all of this and have a tremendous ROI. Last, I want to give you, because there's so much more to talk about, is when you look at this picture, you can actually do your own study. For example, each of these boxes adds up to 100% of your current marketing campaign. So let's say, for example, that you don't spend any money right now in your office on the outside. I just don't do that right now. Well, you could put a 0 in that fourth quadrant. You might say, well, I don't do patient appreciation days and I don't gift my patients. So you could just put a 0, for example, in money on the inside. You could say, I just don't do talks and screenings. Maybe every once in a while, once a year, I'll do something, but otherwise I really don't do that. You could put a 0 in that box. Do you realize how much pressure you just put onto your marketing campaign? It's all come one quadrant centric. And so I want you to understand, this isn't 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. This is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. That's why you want to spend time in this. You want to roll up your sleeves and you want to get really good at this. It is simple, but it's going to take some time and some work. But I'm telling you, you do this your first quarter, you are going to crush your first quarter goals. You should have a plan right now, even if it's just a loose plan. I'm going to have all 4 of these quadrants overlapping January, February, March of this year. So let's go to energy on the inside. Give you a couple of examples, things that my clients and chiropractors across the country are doing and crushing it right now. Think about a workshop, where a workshop comes and 2 particular groups of chiropractors I'm thinking about right now, just in the last 3 months. One group of chiropractors that are clients of mine, they used to do workshops and it was before COVID, but then COVID hit and they just never brought it back. The other group, they never have done workshops. So both of those groups started or restarted workshops about 3 months ago. And this is what happens. They wind up using an incredible PowerPoint. So it's a very brilliant presentation in their office. We call it half hour to health. It just takes 30 minutes. And I have that PowerPoint for you, for example. And we use what's called an eye care sheet. So at the end of this presentation, there's a clipboard underneath each person's chair, and there's a pen and there's an eye care sheet. And that eye care sheet is there for people to write down the names of friends and family members, coworkers, neighbors, etc., of people that they know might be sick or hurting, that might be on and off medications or in and out of doctor's offices. And they're writing down 3, 4, 5, 6 names. And I want you to visualize that right now. And then look at this on your screen. Have each person that wrote down the names of people, and of course, it's not just a name, there's an email and there's their cell phone and maybe even a little comment about what's going on with that person, what's that relationship to them. They contact one of those people. You let them know, listen, you can contact as many as you'd like, but I want you to really think about one person, just one that's on that sheet that you wrote down right now. And what a blessing that would be for you to give them a call right now. Let them know that you're at your chiropractor's office, and let them know that tonight they can call our office. And of course, your phone number is right there on the eye care sheet. You give them this phone number and you say to them, if they contact our office within the next 45 minutes, that they're going to wind up actually being eligible for a complete and thorough chiropractic examination. That could be as a gift. That could be, it's normally $250 and tonight it's only $49 or $25. You get the idea, right? This is what these chiropractors in the last 3 months just started doing. One of them, and it was about 2.5 months ago, actually had about 10 people, I think it was 10, that were actually there at the Half Hour to Health workshop. I want you to get that about an hour after the workshop was done, they looked at their voicemails and there were 7 people that had already called in based on the phone calls that their patients made to people, a text, a phone call. It was different for different people. These chiropractors had never experienced that in their entire career. This wasn't a one-off. This is what's happening now every time they do a workshop, and that workshop's either once a week or once every 2 weeks. I want you to get a feel for that now. How many more new patients would that add to your practice in 2024? Let's still stay in energy on the inside. How you doing? I know it's late, but I just believe if you can just stay with me, keep your eyes fresh and your heart open to learn, you just won't believe what's going to come across for you here. In that same quadrant, energy on the inside, here's a 3-step process that I want you to understand. Hundreds of chiropractors are using right now, and they are blessed by this. Here's how it goes. You are doing, as you could probably see on the screen, I'm just checking a patient, right? The patient has come in for their regular adjustment, and it's a leg check or a palpation, whatever you're doing to get ready to adjust that patient. And you say to the patient, Amy, I just want you to know that our purpose here is to check as many sick people as possible to return to optimal health without drugs through natural chiropractic care. In other words, you've literally just said out loud your purpose statement. Most of my clients have that or something like that. It's literally right behind their front desk CA when people walk in. It's on calligraphy. It's in calligraphy up on a wall somewhere. It's a big poster. People walk in and they see it every visit. That's their mission statement, right? That's their purpose. So that's step 1. That leads to step 2, and it's simply the 5 best promotional words out of your mouth, out of your CA's mouth, out of your associate's mouth, ever. Who do you know who? So you just described your purpose statement, and then it's, Amy, who do you know who is sick or on and off medication, missing work or missing school? And then just shut up. 8 out of 10 people, it's already right there on their heart. And you'll see why in a few minutes. There's close to 48 people that they love and care for, and they're already thinking about, well, gosh, my brother's actually been having issues with allergies. My neighbor just told me that she's having a hard time getting up and down her steps. Like, I just heard that, like, in the last 48 hours. Who do you know who? Notice we didn't ask a yes or no question. We didn't ask, do you know anybody? We never asked that. It's who do you know who? Do you know that goes right to their memory banks, and they're instantly providing you the name and a relationship. So that's step 2, and that leads to step 3. Very similar to the workshop lead generation process. Look at this, Amy. I'd love to have you contact this person, right? This might be Cindy, their friend, while you're still here in the office, right? So this person's getting an adjustment and they say, yeah, my friend Cindy, hey, you know what? Why don't you think about contacting Cindy while you're still here in the office? Why don't you tell her that she can call us and schedule a full spine and neurological exam so that we can find out what, and maybe they brought up headache or allergy, so we can find out what's causing the headache or allergies that are bothering her. And then you should tell her that it'll only be $25, even though it's normally $250, because she's being referred by you. Do you know how great that makes your patient feel? They could pass on something like that, and they call Cindy, and Cindy calls you, and they schedule an appointment, and that's happening once, 2 times per shift. Think about that for just a moment. What does that do over a period of a week, 6 weeks, 12 weeks? So energy on the inside, there's so much more to talk about. I just want you to understand that didn't cost you any money. So for my first question is, how many new patients leads does your team generate now per week? And then maybe the equally important question is, where do you want that to be? See, this is speaking of a proactive referral system rather than a reactive referral system. So now let's move to the second quadrant, the upper right quadrant, energy on the outside. I want you to recognize that in the new patient welcome packet, or I'm sorry, in the entrance form, your health forms that they complete, not only do they actually tell you if they're married and they have children, But right there on that form, and again, that should be pushed out from your software. Those patients actually complete it and bring it right back to you. It tells you who they work for. It tells you what kind of work they do, and they work at this manufacturing plant. They work for that technology center. They work at this bank. Do you understand that what my clients do is find the place where they work? And within 2 weeks of them starting care, we already have a talk or a screening scheduled as, let's write this down, a community outreach program. That's what you need. You need to start your own community outreach program. And so that's your way of giving back to the community, that you go to churches, schools, businesses, and organizations, sporting teams, right? And you go out to do posture and stress testing, that you may actually do a talk on how to have more energy. There's 5 or 6 conversations or talks, presentations that you can do. And I can tell you and show you all about that. That is not hard either. I just want you to understand that your patients can be the source of you filling up your dance card next year about where you're doing talks and where you're doing screenings. Secondly, you should, if you're not yet a member of your Chamber of Commerce, do you understand that your Chamber of Commerce already knows every event that's happening in 2024 in your town? Now, some of them don't cost anything, some cost a little bit, and some cost more, but you want to be in those bigger ones too, like a home and garden show or a boat show or a trade show, because there's going to be tens of thousands of people potentially at that kind of event. It's worth it, particularly if you've been trained and you know how to do a screening well, right? So then you can start thinking, well, what kinds of screenings, what kind of talks, where do I want to be? Arts and wine festivals, farmers markets, trade shows, business shows, 10Ks. There's so many ways for you to be out in your community. Again, that net approach. And so if you understand this, look at what's on your screen now. You're out doing a screening or a talk, and you tell them that you can schedule another appointment for a friend at the same special price. So let's say we're out doing a screening and you just sign somebody up. It's normally $250, but right there at that screening, they could schedule for $25. And then you say at the same time, this is parlay. That's the word that we brought up at the top of this training, that while they're here, there may be somebody they're thinking about. There may be somebody they're thinking about, right? They can either schedule it themselves or call their friend while they're at the booth. So I have a client that goes out and does a screening, and this is just about 3 weeks ago, and he had a really good show. I mean, he had 17 people that signed up for an appointment, and I believe it was about $25. So he was very excited. Their team did a great job, but that wasn't the end of the story. What I want you to go is 17 people signed up, but out of those 17, there were 12 more. So it was a total of 29. Those 12 were people that were referred by the other 17 that were at the screening that signed up. This is the power of parlay. And I got to tell you, it seems as if 8 out of 10 chiropractors have never heard this or don't know how to do this. When you see it happen once, you just go, oh my gosh, how did I not know about this? And then the kicker, which I'll never forget the first time this happened for me, was the people are thanking you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. In other words, thank you for extending this to my sister. I know how bad thank you for extending this to my buddy. I know he's had terrible problems with his knee and his hip. He's got to get that checked out. Thank you. So you're getting a big thank you while your new patients are now turning into a waiting list of new patients, on your schedule book. I want you to really visualize that. So talks and screenings on the outside, that should be at least 1 to 3 of those a month that are happening. And what a beautiful thing for you to have that in the first quarter of 2024. Remember, that's not 10 plus 10, that's 10 times 10. What you're doing inside your office, now what you're doing outside. Money on the inside. If you don't have Chiro TV, first of all, it's about $35, $40. It is the most wonderful technology. All you need is a flat screen, and then your patients, while they're in your office, they're able to watch some great PowerPoint presentations that lead them to want to refer a friend or family member. It's all right there, just flowing right in front of them before they actually get to the table, get to their adjusting area. I want you to know there's also presentations that are already loaded, doesn't cost any more, including presentations I have done that are specifically for your patients. You could have me literally talking to your patients and them actually referring friends into your practice. It is awesome. You can also then be promoting patient appreciation days and referral days and contests and all kinds of things. You can customize it very simply. This is an amazing tool, and that would be some little money, right? $35, $40 a month to have that in your practice. That's a no-brainer. But then when I think about patient appreciation days, just like this last year, my clients did patient appreciation days for Valentine's. They did it for a spring into health, end of April, early May. Many did an Independence Day right before 4th of July in the United States. Others then waited to the end of summer and they had a back to school PAD. Others actually did, which would be early September, they waited to do a birthday, our birthday, September 18th of chiropractic, a chiropractic birthday PAD. Last month in November, oh my gosh, the number of our clients that actually did a canned food drive, and they actually brought food into the practice from people that they knew that food would be feeding needy families in the community that would otherwise not have a Thanksgiving. And in return, what they got for bringing in 3 to 5 canned goods was a chiropractic checkup. So these practices not only helped feed 30, 40 families in their town, they just got 30 to 40 new patients in November from doing one canned food program. So many of my clients right now are doing Toys for Tot in December. And they, of course, they've connected themselves with a distribution center, much like you would do for canned food, right? Like a church, somebody that's going to pick up $5 toys, unwrapped, right? So that you could see if it's for a boy or a girl. And for the exchange of one toy, you could come in and you could get a chiropractic checkup here in December for a limited number of these special appointments. And your patients are telling their friends all about this. And when they do, they get a special ticket that goes into a fishbowl, and it's a grand prize drawing for maybe a flat screen or a mountain bike or something like that. Do you know, my clients have an average of at least $3,000 per case. So when they actually convert somebody in a report of findings, they've been well trained to have at least a $3,000 case and in corrective care. But I want you to understand, in a PAD like this, if you were able to have 10 people in that month convert to a $3,000 care plan, that's a $30,000 a month of generated income for the cost of a flat screen, you know, for a giveaway. When you start understanding the ROI of all of this, it makes so much sense. When I'm talking about gifting, I'm not talking about rewarding. I'm not saying that when a patient refers that we then reward them or gift them. That's reward. I'm saying to you that when your patients keep their appointments, you gift them. When they attend the workshop, you gift them. When they go home and do their home exercises and their tractioning, you gift them. And here's what my research has shown over and over and over again. When you gift people, within 48 to 72 hours, they're referring another person. That their joy and their appreciation is just overwhelmed, just enough, cup overflowing, if you will. They just got to tell somebody else about it. Just like I said at the top of the training about a wonderful restaurant experience or a great movie. It's like people just want to tell people, oh, what's going on in your practice. So you should already have a budget of how much we're actually gifting our patients. Do you know, many of my clients have an account at a nursery, right? And they have like 3 different plants, not flowers, because flowers wilt too quickly, but plants. And they're like $20 to $40, right? We're not talking about a lot of money. The CA calls and says, I'd like plant B either sent to that patient's home or sent to their work, which is even a more cool thing, because people come by and go, oh my gosh, who sent you that beautiful plant? And they're like, oh, my chiropractor sent that to me. See, when you start to understand why to gift and how to gift, you realize that's actually how to invest your money, is to invest it in your patients and then watch what they do for you. So much more to talk about with money on the outside. I'd mentioned about your software and about how easy and effective it should be. First of all, I just want to thank ChiroTouch for hosting this amazing training tonight. Compliant soap notes. I'm talking about like gold standard Medicare soap notes in seconds. You know, the macro notes are so amazing. Integrated payment processing, all-in-one provider dashboard. I mean, there's so much to it. Now, I actually have this really cool testimony I'd love to share with you. It's brief. I mean, I've got a whole pile of these, but I want you to just hear this one. This is from Dr. Patrick, who's in New Jersey, and this is what he says. I've been using ChiroTouch for the last 14 years, and it's worked well for our team to serve our patients. All the modules, the patient self check-in, the front desk, the scheduler, and the provider all-in-one module all work together for a comprehensive and easy to use EHR system. He said most chiropractic support apps that I have encountered integrate with ChiroTouch seamlessly. If you want to know more about ChiroTouch, you'd have to ask my office manager. I wish I could say more. However, I don't spend much time in ChiroTouch apart from the all-in-one provider module because my team runs the office so well utilizing ChiroTouch without my assistance, which allows me to focus on taking care of my patients. And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about? And no question, has one of the elite practices in America. Check that out. You'll be blessed to do it. Let's get back to what I'm talking about. Every day, everyone on your team, including you, starting with you, should set a goal of how many quality leads that you're asking and receiving that day. We have something in our program called the Master Lead Sheet. So that's a growing sheet, could be a Google spreadsheet, for example, however you want to put it together, but it's got the name of the person, your patient that's referring, the date that they referred, the person's name that they're referring, and a relationship. What is that relationship? An email, a cell phone number, and then comments about what are they saying about this person, that they have migraines or whatever it may be. And so now we're reaching out to those people. Do you understand? None of those are cold calls. We're calling on behalf of your patient who's one of their best friends, who happens to be a neighbor or a relative, right? And we're calling compassionately because they had mentioned that you have been having a difficult time with your health, and they wanted us to call you to find out what was going on to see if we could help you. Do you understand? That's a 3-minute phone call, and 7 out of 10 of those people schedule for a new patient checkup in your office. How many of those phone calls should be being made from your office every single week? So when you're actually then closing an audience, you can say, due to the overwhelming response that we've had, so give this some thought, whether you're doing outside talk or an outside screening, you did that, right? You signed people up, they came into your office. We're now, notice that we're on money on the outside now, so you may have paid a team, and again, I can show you where you would go to get this done, but you literally can hire an outside company to fill up a room of people that you can speak to. Did you know that? Right? And so whether you're doing that or you're actually doing a screening, right? But these people came into your office, they got day one, they got your report of findings, and they converted, right? So that's where we're at. So close the audience, and then after they've converted, this is a great one to take a screenshot of. Due to the overwhelming response, that's the phrase I want you to make sure to write down, due to the overwhelming response that we had at our last event. So you could be very specific. That talk or that screening that we just did, we are holding over 10 additional appointments for this week at that same special price, maybe $25. And now if that's 10 appointments, it could be 5 or 7 or 10 or 12, whatever makes sense, to you. Due to the overwhelming response, we've decided to hold it over. So our clients go out and do a screening, they wind up converting those patients, and then the patients that converted are now referring in less than 7 days. So when I say that there's groups of chiropractors, whole groups of chiropractors across the country that are averaging a referral in less than 7 days, I really want you to feel that right now. I really want you to understand everything that I've taught you, from energy on the inside, on the outside, money on the inside, money on the outside. This is real. This is what's happening. They're parlaying new patients into more new patients because they just want to help that many more sick people get well. And of course, this is the obvious question. Who do you know, right? Who do you know who may be hurting, taking medication, who may be missing work or school that could benefit from this evaluation? They already converted, right? They already came from the talk. They came from the screening. Cindy, who else do you know? Who do you know? The magic of Parlay is realizing that you can generate new patients at will throughout the day. And that's what I want you to really feel tonight, is that these 4 quadrants, you can master these. You no longer have to have it as a mystery. There's no longer, just the unknown and the complication of it all. No way, no way. I want you to feel like you could confidently set a budget, that you could confidently actually put an operational plan together so there's overlapping marketing campaigns, quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd be happy to help you with that, and that you can actually see a pathway in 2024 that maybe you've never seen before. I also want you to know, and this is in your chat box or coming into your chat box right now, is that you can actually schedule with me. And one of the things I love this, particularly this time of year, and I've done this for almost all of my clients now at this point, is that you can schedule a 30-minute appointment with me. There's no charge for it. And I do a goal setting session. And so if you haven't done goal setting in a really big way in your practice, including what are the best bonus programs that are available for your CAs, your associates, and so forth, that may be worth your weight in gold to have that done. I'd love to do that with you. It might be during that time, then I can also review what your marketing plan is and give you some really great recommendations. So that's actually in your chat box. Figure out a time between now and the end of the year that you and I can spend some time together, and I would love to do that. Do you know, marketing experts say that the average patient, think about your average patient, knows 48 other people that they love and care about. So when I first understood this in practice, I went from somebody who, if I was taking that survey when I first started practice, I probably was a C or a D. There's no way I could tell you that I started my practice, even though it's true, my practice went from 100 a week to 100 a day to then 100 a shift of patients as I grew my practice and grew my team to serve these people. And then much more than that. That's not how I started. I mean, is averaging a new patient is referring in 7 days or less. That's not where I started. That's where I wound up. And I want you to understand this. This may be the greatest takeaway for you tonight. If your average patient loves and cares for 48 other people, you should feel confident that in the first 2 to 3 months of them learning about you, learning about their health problem, learning about how chiropractic works and how you find the cause and you turn their power on and the body heals itself, and they're really getting clear about your message and your work, there should be 2 to 3 minimum, 2 to 3 patients referred per patient. So I want you to start thinking about the 10% rule, because that's the kind of the bar that I set for any chiropractor that I work with. And that is, okay, we're going to have 10% of the people they love in our practice so that we can give them a checkup and find out what's going on with them and see how we can help them. Well, 10% of 48 is like almost 5 people, right? So the idea of having 2 or 3 referrals per patient, number one, and the first one is happening in less than 30 days. So let me tell you that research there. Hundreds and hundreds of practices, thousands of patients later, here's what you should know. When a patient refers in less than 30 days, they are that much more likely to refer again in the first 90 days, at least one more person. But when a patient does not refer in the first 30 days, they may not refer for 6 months or ever. So I want you to kind of put like that hourglass that turns over, that when that new patient starts the care, and this is their first adjustment, right? And we're always so excited to start a new patient under care and to see their bodies just absolutely going through all the metamorphosis, right? That we improve, extend, and save lives for a living. That's who you are. That's what we do. From that very first adjustment, it's 30 days. It's T-minus 30 days. Your procedures, your system should effortlessly, innately drive that to where they're actually referring that very next person. And so these 4 quadrants are leading you in that direction brilliantly. You know, as I said at the top, you know, these patients of yours, they tell people about a new favorite restaurant or a movie or a hairstylist, right? A dentist, a car mechanic, right? A realtor, some type of skincare or golf or tennis pro, a coffee maker, and they're telling somebody, oh my gosh, this makes the best coffee and I don't have to do, you know, $10 every time I go to Starbucks. I'm not doing that anymore. I use this coffee maker, and they're telling all their friends about it. I just want you to get something. Why wouldn't their favorite chiropractor, you, be the very next viral referral buzz through their network of friends? I want you to picture that. I want you to imagine that you are the Pied Piper next year. And can you imagine that increasing your revenue by $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 next year, just from what it is that we've talked about tonight? So when parlay becomes a process in your practice and you put the 4 quadrants together and they're now overlapping, you will see your marketing campaign experience success like you've never seen before. It is not difficult. And again, I'm here to help you. I'd like you to actually schedule some time with me. I also have a complimentary training I just did with my clients. It's a $500 training on behalf of ChiroTouch. I'm just going to gift it to you. I want to just super load you up so that when you're starting 2024, you just feel like you've got both barrels loaded and you're ready to go. My team is going to send that to you. That training, that video training is incredible. I pray tonight that what you have learned is that marketing isn't hard, that there's 4 quadrants, that I need to be better at parlaying because people know 48 other people and 70% of them, statistically at any point, are in pain. One of the first things I said to you tonight was that there's tens of thousands of people within driving distance of your practice that have a problem only you can solve. Maybe that makes more sense to you now than when I said it. And there should be a predictable pathway for you to attract those people into your practice. It's those 4 quadrants, and it's how you put those together. I wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. I look forward to hearing great results from your practice. I can't wait to actually have that private time with you by scheduling in Calendly, and I cannot wait to hear that you took a test drive with ChiroTouch and you got hooked up with Tyler so you could see how that ChiroTouch Cloud may be a real benefit for you in 2024. I look forward to being with you again. Until next time, and as always, practice with passion. Have a wonderful night, and God bless you.